Video for YouTube. Our enemy is not the other. Our enemy is a division that we have allowed to be created amongst us. You know, as I reminisce over this situation that I have encountered, and as I begin, as I was there in Cleveland, Ohio, at the clinic, going through all kinds of tests, I kept thinking a lot about, sometimes it just crosses your mind about what if this is the end. The surgery and the procedure I was to have were very, very delicate and could have, any procedure can end your life. So I started thinking a lot about the world that we live in today, in the world, not as much for me, but for my children and grandchildren. And I think the division that has been created because we are either all in or all out according to whether we like ex-President Trump or we don't, whether we're Republicans or Democrats. So I saw Andy Stanley give an amazing message, as he always does. And, the truth of the matter, what he said, and I'm sure a lot of those believers, a lot of those members of his church in Georgia really, really were all upset about it. But you know what? He speaks the truth. He speaks it from his heart. He doesn't judge. And at the end of the day, it's like my mom say, hey, if the shoe fits, wear it. If not, pick another pair of shoes. So in his message, and many of my ideas do come from that message, is the fact that, we if we are Democrats, we say, you know what? We hate all the Republicans. And if we're Republican, we say we hate all the Democrats. But the truth of the matter is, it's a bunch of lies. Because even when I saw priests talk about that all Democrats were going to go to hell, how does he know that? How does he know all the Democrats? He probably knows 5 of them, if that. And that's probably what we do. When we say, oh, I can't believe all those Republicans did all that horrible thing. What do you mean all those Republicans? We probably only know 4 or 5, maybe 10. We don't know all of them. And the same thing goes when we believe, oh my God, can you believe those liberals are going to drive? Who are the liberals? So, but what we've allowed is, we've allowed a person to create an unbelievable division because being smart, a divided house cannot stand. I look back throughout the years in the Medellin Drug Cartel, and we were the most powerful organization in the world, even though there was no Medellin Drug Cartel, but it was all the different groups that went on to become the Medellin Drug Cartel. And to the point that Pablo Escobar himself brought a government to his knees. Very, very powerful. Powerful like no other criminal organization ever on earth. Within a year, it was gone. It was over with. Pablo was dead. A lot of his properties were gone. Many people in that stood with him died. Why? Because of the division. When we begin to allow division amongst us, then we ate ourselves up. I mean, it's even biblical. Even Paul talks about it. He said, when you act like you're devouring each other, that you want to eat each other up, you're going to end up being eaten by each other. And that is very, very sad. Because at the end of the day, the question should be, why don't we hate the division more than we hate those who think differently than us? Because if we look at Jesus, we're not going to find him on the far left or the far right. We're never going to solve any problem being far left or far right. We're going to find Jesus right in the middle. Because in the middle is where all the problems are solved. At the end of the day, remember, as Andy Wells says, Jesus did not come to divide or to take sides. Jesus came to conquer us, to conquer our hearts and to give us a new way of life. And if we begin to follow his teachings and act in just the basic principle, whether you're a believer or not, this applies to every human being. Love others as you love yourself. Sacrifice for others as you want others to sacrifice for you. Forgive others as Christ has forgiven you. Give to others as you have been given. If for 1 minute we quit thinking about the other as the enemy and we begin to think of the other as our brother, because if we believe that we're all created by God, then we are all brothers and sisters. So why would you hate your brother? And if we, especially those of us that call ourselves Christians, that that adhere to the Bible, that, oh my God, especially priests that were talking so horrific about Democrats because of the abortion issue. They don't know that every Democrat, I know many, many Democrats that are anti-abortion. And I know many, many Republicans that are pro-abortion. So at the end of the day, you don't throw everybody up in a thing, but you have allowed this dialogue, and you have allowed the spin, especially by the media on both sides, to hate each other. And you've allowed one man to create the most horrific division that ever been in America. And it's very, very, very sad, because at the end of the day, as I was thinking about the ends of our life, I'm not going to go to heaven if that's where I pray that I go as a Republican or a Democrat. I'm going to go to heaven because I love others. Because Jesus clearly, the teachings in the Bible are very, very clear. One commandment I give unto you, that you love others as I have loved you. That you love others as you love yourself. That you forgive others as I have forgiven you. But so many Christians, and evangelicals specifically, talk about these horrific things about the others, the liberals. I don't even know what liberal means. And most likely, most people don't know what liberal means. They throw a label because that's what they have read and that's what they have seen either on Facebook, on Fox News, Newsmax, any of those media. They throw liberals and communists and socialists. Well, America is a socialist country, because I tell everyone that tells me, hey, I hate socialists. I'm like, you're not a socialist? No. Well, then don't take the Social Security check. Don't take the Medicaid help. Don't take that Obamacare. Don't take welfare. Don't take unemployment. Those are all socialist services. So America will never be, see, because the truth is we equate socialism with communism. But America will be communist. But do we, especially those that are in the ex-President Donald Trump's camp, especially those that believe all the lies that people have been told over and over, to do one thing, to create division. And those that propagate the lies are only after one thing, money. Because see, division makes money. A divided house opens up the doors for many, many ways of creating revenue. Because I'm fighting such and such, send me money. Because I'm saving America, save me money. You ain't gonna save shit. America is the greatest country on God's earth. And God will save America. And God will judge America. And we, the people, not we the Democrats, we the Republicans, or we the people must create a perfect union. Because as we bite into this division, think about it. Think about this. Our children are the ones that are going to pay the deep, deep price way after we are gone. Ain't that sad? Ain't that sad how many families have been broken up because what camp they're in? See, we don't have dialogue anymore because it's all in or all out. So dialogue where two people can interchange ideas and present their position, and at the end of the day agree or disagree, doesn't exist anymore. Because now is, if you're in my camp, you got to believe what I believe. And the minute you even suspect or even question it, you're the enemy. Isn't that sad? You know, we think that we're fighting foreign terrorists. I'm glad that President Biden has gotten us out of Afghanistan. We need to get the hell out of there and leave those people alone. I believe if we quit messing with them, they'll quit messing with us. But greater than that is we need to stop sacrificing the lives of so many good young men, women, Americans, and other nations that have fought along with us because of the greed of so many other people. That it's all about making money. But the greatest terrorist is right here in America. It's not overseas. When I was in prison, I used to tell people, you're scared of those people in Iraq, Afghanistan, all that? Better scared of so many people that are in prison that have been then handed a horrific card. Kids that were not criminals. Yeah, they broke the law 2-3 times, but you gave them a life sentence. and you made him an enemy of America. And they just propagate and propagate. And the worse it becomes for them, the more they hate. And eventually you're going to have to release them. And when eventually they are released, it's an animal that's coming out. And it's horrific because it's our fault. You know, we need to stop the division. And we might not get everybody else. And you might not be, and you might say, well, who am I? It might be impossible. But I tell you who you are. You're the one person that can start with you and your family. Because if for a moment, instead of hating the other, you begin to love the other, and your children begin to see that, especially fathers, then you know what? You will not believe the impact it will have in their lives. Because they will not survive this world by hating. The only way our children and our grandchildren will survive and prosper in this world is by loving. Because Jesus, for example, for me, showed the ultimate example. He loved me so much that he laid his life down for me. See, his people wanted him to come and conquer the Romans. But he didn't come to conquer the Romans by creating an army and killing the other. He came and conquered the Romans and changed the history of Western civilization forever by showing the ultimate expression of love, dying on a cross for our sins. See, nobody. How do you fight an enemy that is now willing to fight back? See, and that's what Jesus showed him. I am not the Davidic Messiah that you want me to be. No, I am the suffering servant of Isaiah. I came to usher the kingdom of God by sacrificing my life for the world. So if we are Christians and we call ourselves followers of Jesus, why don't we start following that example? Why don't we start by loving instead of hating? Why don't we start by stopping to put everyone in one camp? There's amazing Democrats and there's horrific Democrats. There are amazing Republicans and horrific Republicans. Everybody's not in the same bucket, people. We all have different ideals, and that's okay. And different beliefs, and that's okay. And we can fight for them the way that our society allows us to fight, by voting, by getting elected, by passing laws, but not by propagating some stupid ass machine that's out there to spin and make money off our stupidity when we just fall into that hatred. We will never solve problems by hating anybody. The only way we solve problems is when we meet others in the middle. Because in the middle is where Jesus is. In the middle is where we solve problems. In the middle is where we love others. And it starts by us. It starts by us saying, no, we're not going to continue to feed into this. We're going to be different. And we're going to change the world. And we're going to show our children that the way that we change the world, that the way that they will make a big impact in the world is by loving others, not by hating. So my brother and sister, maybe you will too come to a point where you might face the possibility that you could die any minute. And if that moment comes, start thinking about this. Start thinking about how history will ever remember you, if it ever will. And then start thinking about what you have done to make an impact in the life of others. And then when you do, then perhaps your behavior now will change. God bless you and have a wonderful day.